Hi Bart, this is your quick recap on what we did yesterday. We talked about surds and essentially trying to square root numbers, right? But the thing is that there are three types of number, which are, of course, what I've drawn there: square, rectangular, and prime. And when we try and square root each type, we get a different reaction to by the number. So when we try and square root a square number, that's no problem at all. We're going to get 4 for this one, square root of 16. But remember, in general, it should be plus or minus 4 because there are two possibilities. If we try and square root a rectangular number, that's not possible. Remember I showed you the picture that you can't put the area of a rectangle into a square, it just won't fit. So it's not going to work. But what we can do is try and be a little bit clever about it and try and change the rectangle into some squares. So for 45, it makes 5 squares of 9. So the 9 itself is a square number, so we can square root that. So we get half of it square rooted, if you like, and not the whole thing. So that's something we can do with it, and that's called simplifying it. And then finally, the third type is just a prime number. And if you try and square root a prime number, you're not going to get anywhere at all because there are definitely no square numbers in it because it's prime. That's sometimes the case with a rectangular number as well. You might get a rectangular number which isn't simplifiable, if that's a word, because there aren't any square numbers in it. For example, 15 is a rectangular number, but I can't square root it because I can't think of a 1, 4, 9. Those square numbers don't go into it, so there aren't any squares inside it, so you can't square root any part of it. But if you're asked to simplify a third, the chances are that you are able to, otherwise they wouldn't ask you. Okay, so there are 3 types of things we can come across. I've sent some questions along with the homework, and so one thing I didn't mention yesterday was that the same technique that we can use for multiplying thirds, multiplying numbers even, we can use for multiplying thirds as well. So I've got one here lined up. So if you've got 2 plus root 10 and you multiply it by itself, like you square it, what you can do is put it in a column just the same way as you would with numbers that we've been multiplying so far, and use the same technique. So we can do the right hand column, and that root 10 times root 10 is going to be 10, because 10 times 10 is 100, and square root of 100 is 10. So the square root kind of cancels itself out because we're squaring it. Square root squared cancels the whole thing out, and we just end up with 10. Or we can think of it as 10 times 10 is 100, and then square root of 100 is 10. So that's plus 10. The next bit is going to be the cross, so we have 2 root 10 plus 2 root 10. So that's going to be 4 root 10. And the final thing, of course, is the left-hand column, so that's 2 times 2 is 4. We can just tidy that a little bit and do 14 plus 4 root 10. Now that isn't simplifiable because, again, 10 is a rectangular number, but there aren't any squares inside it. 1, 4, 9, or 4 and 9 don't go into it with equally, so you can't simplify that, and that's it. 14 plus 4 root 10. So that's one of the questions that I'm going to send you to do. So now, because you know how to do that anyway, multiplication, you'll have no problem doing that. And I'll see you next week.